In this video, we're going to go through all of these stackable weapon buffs that you can get in Elden Ring Nightreign. There are quite a few of them, and recently we went over dormant powers, so if you want to go check that out, I will leave that video in the link down in the description below. And everything I'm getting in terms of information is going to be from a spreadsheet that I'm also going to link in the description below, so you guys can have that resource for yourself. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now in this video, there's going to be a ton of information, so I'm just going to play some background gameplay while we discuss everything that this video has to offer. We're going to go over how many times each buff stacks. We're also going to go over which buffs are going to stack and which aren't. And by the time this video is done, you will have everything you need in order to figure out how to get the most damage out of your Nightfarer on any given expedition. Now there are technically 5 different categories of weapon buffs, and we will go over each individual one. We're going to start out with the stat buffs because those are going to go over the quickest, and then we'll move into offensive and defensive buffs. First and foremost, when it comes to your stat buffs, these are things like the Wilder's Grief, Guardian's Grief, Duchess Grief, and so on and so forth. Now all of these buffs are going to stack. Now each character's grief is going to buff certain stats that the character has. For example, Duchess has dexterity and intelligence, which get buffed from her grief. Wilder's Grief is going to enhance his strength and dexterity. Guardian is going to enhance his maximum HP and stamina when he gets his grief. Iron Eye's Grief is going to increase maximum stamina and dexterity. Raider's Grief is going to increase his maximum HP and strength. Revenant's Grief is going to enhance her faith and arcane. Recluse's Grief is going to increase her FP and intelligence. And Executor's Grief is going to enhance his dexterity and arcane. Every single one of these is stackable. However, you can pick up a different character's grief weapon and it could not apply to you, so just be careful with what you're picking up. Other than that, if you have Wilder and you get 3 Wilder's Griefs, then you will have stacked your strength and dexterity 3 times the typical grief level. Next up, we're going to be looking at offensive buffs that you're going to get on your weapons as you go through your expedition. As I stated before, I'm going to go over everything that stacks. If you find out that one of the buffs is missing, it is because it does not stack and I'm not including it. So first and foremost, attack up when wielding 2 armaments is going to stack. It will give you plus 7% or plus 10% when it stacks. Now improved attack power at low HP is also going to stack. However, it starts at 7%, but it can stack all the way up to 21% extra attack power at its maximum stack level. Now this next stat does not apply to bows, so keep that in mind, but improved attack power when you are two-handing is going to stack. It will start out at 7% and will stack all the way up to 13%. Our next buff, improved attack power at full HP, is once again going to start at 7%, but then you can stack it all the way up to 14% to get that extra damage out. Improved chain attack finishers is also going to stack all the way up to 20%. However, I also want to go over what a chain attack finisher is for those people that don't necessarily understand. Now, a chain attack finisher is going to be the very last attack in a group of successive attacks. So, for example, Duchess has a very quick dagger attack, and the very last attack that she has in that massive light attack chain before everything kind of starts over is going to be that final hit of your chain attack finishers. This particular buff is going to apply to that final hit, causing it to either be boosted by 10, 15, or 20% depending on how many times you've stacked this. Improved charge attacks is also going to stack on your expedition all the way up to 12%, starting out at 6%. Next up, your improved skill attack power is going to stack, which is super nice considering you can get some crazy damage out of some of your character's skills, but this is going to stack all the way up to 11%. Now, if you are running a guard counter build at some point in your expedition, you will be happy to know that your guard counters can hit like an absolute Mack truck. It starts out being buffed at 9%. However, if you find a bunch of different weapons and things that have upgrades to your guard counters, you can stack this all the way up to 20% and have some incredibly deadly guard counters. Improved jump attacks can also be buffed by 12%, and this will stack on top of the Claw Talisman if you happen to find it on your expedition, giving you a huge damage boost to your jump attacks. Improved critical hits are also going to be stacked from 8% all the way up to 24%, providing some really fun gameplay and damage for a critical hit build. Improved range attacks can also be stacked up to 14%, and improving your magic, fire, lightning, or holy attack power can also be stacked all the way to 12% extra attack power for those affinities. Improved sorceries and incantations can also be stacked up to 11% extra damage, and if you're using charged incantations in a run, that can be stacked all the way up to 20% extra charged incantation damage. Now what's interesting about this is it also affects sorceries in the same way. However, instead of going up to 20% damage, you're only going to get plus 18% if you have a few of these buffs stacked on your weapons. Improved spellcasting speed can only be stacked twice. You start out with plus 30 spellcasting speed, and then you can stack it once to get plus 60. Reduced skill FP cost can also be buffed 3 times, giving you a total of 24% reduced FP cost from your skill. Now reduced spell FP cost can also be buffed, but by much more. You'll start out with being buffed around 10%, and you can reduce the spell FP cost all the way up to 24%. Improved stance breaking when two-handing can be stacked all the way up to 25%, and improved stance breaking when wielding 2 armaments can be buffed up to 25% extra damage. And the last offensive buff that can be buffed is improved stance breaking, and that can be buffed from 10% all the way up to 15%. Next up, there's right around 12 defensive buffs that we need to cover and figure out which ones can stack and not stack, and by how much they can. First and foremost, we have improved magic, fire, lightning, and holy damage negation, and this can be stacked from 12% all the way up until 20%. We also have improved damage negation at low HP, and this stacks as high as 48% if you have enough of it. There's also improved damage negation at full HP, which can also be stacked incredibly high all the way up to 40%. You have the buff Taking Damage boosts damage negation, and that starts out at an 8% buff, but can be boosted all the way up until 36. And something interesting about this buff is the fact that it doesn't start right away. You have to get hit first in order for the damage negation to start. Damage negation while casting spells is also going to skyrocket all the way up until 24%. Damage negation upon landing a charged attack is also going to stack. Successful guarding is going to up your damage negation starting at 14%, but can be stacked all the way until 24%. Successful guarding ups your poise will start at 12%, but once again will also stack up until 24%. Your improved guarding ability defensive buff will start at 10%, but can stack double that all the way up to 20%. Any type of improved affinity resistance will also stack by up to plus 112. Surprisingly, less likely to be targeted also stacks starting at plus 3, but will also go up to plus 9, pretty much making you invisible to the actual enemy. Now there's 2 more sections of buffs, and one section has 1 buff in it, and the rest are just going to be different regen buffs. So first and foremost, when it comes to your exploration buffs, that's going to be improved item discovery. That is going to stack. It starts at plus 24, but then can stack all the way up to plus 40. Now there are 3 more buffs we're going to be going over, and these are going to be the regen buffs: continuous HP recovery, HP restoration upon landing attacks, and FP restoration upon landing attacks. Now the first one, continuous HP recovery, does stack, but it only recovers 1 HP per second, so it's almost not worth even picking this perk up if it's going to give you so little. Now as far as the HP restoration and FP restoration upon landing attacks, you are going to restore 4, 6, and then 8 HP on continuous attacks, as well as 1, 2, and 3 FP on continuous attacks for your FP restoration. Now, as far as if they stack, they could potentially stack, but it is very hard to figure out just how much you are getting back. So if anybody knows exactly how much they're going to get back if you stack these, let me know down in the comments, as that would be incredibly helpful. But guys, that is going to be it for all these stackable weapon buffs you're going to find on any given expedition with an Elden Ring Nightreign. I'm pretty positive, I think I'm 99% sure I got every single one of them down, but if I missed one, let me know down in the comments for the help of the community as a whole. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching until the end of the video, and until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.